Hello, everyone. We just not long ago had one of our regular gatherings of our certified trainers and coaches community. And in reflecting on that meeting, it occurred to me that one of the things that we do fairly regularly as a community of GTD practitioners and trainers and coaches is we compare notes, right, on our ways of working, on our tool sets, on how we make our way through our day and how we ensure that we're as, on the one hand, as productive as we can be, and on the other hand, as stress-free as we can be. And it occurred to me that, since we've been in this business and we're going to turn 14 years old this coming summer, which is I'm astonished as it's coming out of my mouth. But yes, we will in fact be that old as an organization. And in that time, one of the things that I have rarely seen is that people have these conversations with each other, right? Again, outside of our, trainers and coaches community, where it's sort of part of what we do and therefore probably not a surprise that we're having those conversations. But out there in the wild, pretty rare in my experience. So if you were interested in having the conversation with somebody about your ways of working with a goal of, on the one hand, of course, probably learning from them what they're doing, possibly finding, some inspiration for something that you want to implement. And as well, sharing your own knowledge. And especially if you're an experienced, practitioner of GTD, you're probably going to inspire some changes in the other person. But if you were going to have that conversation, how could you structure it? What kinds of questions might you discuss? So I've come up with 3 questions that I think you could profitably discuss with somebody else about your ways of working. So the first question would be, how do you keep distractions to a minimum? How do you make sure that your distractions are manageable? Okay. I think this is an issue that's become, since the smartphone, right? This is an issue that's become, ever more, of a challenge, for a lot of people. So how do you keep distractions to a minimum? And this could get into a conversation around, how often you interact with your email client, right? How often do you check your phone for things, right? Do you choose to move to some place where you're less likely to be distracted by, people wandering by and tapping you on the shoulder, right? So that would be thing 1, right? So how do you keep distractions to a minimum? Second question I'd suggest is, how do you ensure that you're only reminded about things when it's helpful to be reminded about them, right? Most of us, when it comes to the things that we need to make happen every day, we're reminded multiple times about things, right? Oh yeah, I need to talk to the boss about that. And then an hour later, oh yeah, don't forget, you need to talk to the boss about that. And then over dinner with your family, oh yeah, I need to talk to the boss about that, right? On the one hand, I would argue that's kind of annoying, right? Unless you're really relishing having that conversation with the boss. It's annoying to be reminded about it. And let's be clear, it's also inefficient, right? You're having the same thought more than one time. As we say in this work, ideally, you should only be having thoughts more than once that are thoughts you like to have, okay? So how do you ensure that you're only reminded about things when it's helpful to be reminded about them? And again, if you're a GTD practitioner, one of the examples that I always like to cite is this idea of an agenda list, as we call it, right? It's a list of things that you want to discuss with the people in your life that you interact with regularly, right? So the boss, for example. Do you have a list of things that you want to discuss with the boss the next time you're in contact with him or her? Okay. Third question. How can you be confident that you're consistently focused on the right things? How can you be confident that you're consistently focused on the right things? So many of us are driven by what's arriving, right? Again, texts, social media posts, email, all those things. We're driven by those, ask yourself the question, when's the last time you had a day where your day was basically responding to email as it's arriving, going to meetings and maybe, some coffee and maybe some time for lunch. How many times have you had that day recently? And if you've had that day quite often, then I think this is a really interesting question, right? Because again, a thought experiment that I quite often use in my work with my clients is I'll ask them, what are the odds that last email that just arrived, that's the most important thing for you to focus on right now? It could be that is in fact the most important thing if it really does feel like that's appropriate. But making good choices about what we're focused on involves more than just the question, what's in my email inbox? What are those longer term things you're working towards? Those things that you've committed to the boss to get done by the end of the year. Are you making progress on those? And are those things that you've got space for in terms of, the next actions that would move you forward toward those things? Are those next actions getting a fair shake at your attention? So answering this question, are you consistently focused on the right things for you? It involves some perspective. Right? It involves making sure that what's on your radar is not just the tactical, it's in front of me now, but also those longer term things, right? Less urgent, but equally as important, maybe more important. So those are some questions. I hope that's helpful. If you do have those conversations with other folks in your life, please do let us know. Okay, come to the website, drop us a line and let us know. If you want to hear some more from me and from the other folks who do, these video podcasts and video blogs, please do let us know, like and subscribe as usual. And as always, if there's anything else that we can do to support you on your journey in GTD, please do let us know. Bye for now.